now?
I want everyone to know today at 5:30 here at 1121 Bettisford Road, we will be handing out flyers. Anybody welcome to come and get them. We need them everywhere. We need all hands on deck. We need all boots on the ground. We need everyone help to
He
find
keep
her.
hollering out,
So
where's my mommy? What do you say? There's no words to say.
CPD says 31-year-old Frezja Baker was found dead inside a car in the Washington Heights neighborhood. Her family confirms that someone has now been arrested in connection with her death.
It's the most horrific thing you could hear, as just being in the community. Not even, I'm sure the family is going, emotional in this sense, because to hear that your family member has been found in a car.
I just want the world to know she was a good person, a good mom, a good person, just a good person that met a monster, and she trusted the monster.
Two words I really don't say. I hope this dude burn in hell. Cause he had no business doing what he did to my daughter.
Have you ever heard a child ask a question that has no answer? Where's my mommy? For a family in Charlotte, North Carolina, that question became a daily, heartbreaking reality in December of 2025. For 8 days, a 2-year-old boy asked it, while his family searched desperately for his mother, 31-year-old Frezja Baker. Her car was found, abandoned behind an old church. She was inside. And the man arrested for her murder was someone the state of North Carolina had already labeled a violent offender and then set free. This isn't just a story about a crime. It's a story about a promise. The promise a mother makes to come home. The promise a justice system makes to protect us. And what happens when both are shattered. Before we get into the devastating details, if you're new here, you're on the right channel. We unravel the facts behind the most gripping true crime cases. Make sure you're subscribed to True Crime Unraveled on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and TikTok at True Crime Unraveled TV. And to our incredible community already here, we see you. We read every single comment you leave, so please keep them coming. Your insights are what make this channel a real discussion. Now, let's talk about Frezja. Frezja Baker wasn't a headline. To her family, she was the glue, the one who checked in, the one who showed up. If you needed something, she was there, no questions asked. People who knew her used one phrase repeatedly. She'd give you the shirt off her back. But her most important role was mom. To her 2-year-old son, she was his entire world. Her life, by all accounts, revolved around the simple, profound routine of caring for him. December 4th, 2025, was a day built from that routine. A dentist appointment, errands, and finally, a visit to her grandparents' house in Charlotte to drop off her son for a little while. It was around 9:52 p.m. She gave him a kiss, told her family she'd be back soon, and walked out the door. It was the last time they would see her alive. Her last known stop was at a gas station on LaSalle Street. Surveillance footage from that night shows a woman going about a mundane task. But police would later say the footage showed something else, too.
A man.
An argument. A physical struggle. Frezja, according to the affidavit, was pushed, grabbed by the neck, and struck with an object. At 10:30 p.m., she called her brother. Her voice was calm, normal. "I'm about an hour away," she told him. It was a phrase meant to reassure. An hour from home. An hour from her son. It was the last time anyone heard her voice. When she didn't arrive, the silence wasn't just absence. It was a screaming alarm bell. Frezja didn't disappear. She was the person who always called, always checked on her boy. For her to go radio silent wasn't just unusual. For her family, it was impossible. By the next morning, they were knocking on doors. Then, they were passing out flyers.
The search continues for Frezja Baker, who's been missing since Thursday. I'm here with friends and family who continue to search for her and are also passing out flyers. Just what are some of the things you want people to know right now?
I want everyone to know today at 5:30 here at 1121 Bettisford Road, we will be handing out flyers. Anybody welcome to come and get them. We need them everywhere. We need all hands on deck. We need all boots on the ground. We need everyone help to find her. So please come get some flyers so you can post it on whatever side of town that you stay on. Please help. Your job, anywhere. Facebook, everywhere.
The community rallied. Friends, strangers, local media, they all joined the search. They shared pictures of her smile, of her gray-blue 2004 Honda Accord. They held on to hope. But with each passing day, that hope got heavier. Her 2-year-old son kept asking the question no one could answer. Where's my mommy? What do you tell a child when you're asking the same thing? While volunteers combed the streets, the police were piecing together a different puzzle. The man in the gas station video had a name, Lorenzo Thomas Inman Jr. He was 38. And to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, he was not a stranger. The public didn't know this yet, but the investigation was zeroing in. Then a tip came in that changed everything. It went to a probation officer. The caller said Inman had told him that Frezja Baker was dead, that she'd been shot in the head, that her car was parked somewhere near his house. He claimed it was an accident. A gun went off during an argument. This wasn't a random anonymous tip. This was someone reportedly relaying the suspect's own words. Details only the killer would know. On December 11th, 7 days after Frezja vanished, police were led to a quiet, overlooked spot behind a church on Sanders Avenue. There, tucked away, was the gray-blue Honda Accord. Inside, they found Frezja. She was still wearing the clothes from the gas station footage.
Developing tonight, a car at the center of a death investigation is the same one police say belonged to a mother who's been missing since last Thursday. Investigators were at that scene on Sanders Avenue in West Charlotte this afternoon for hours. Our Tina Terry is live at that scene. Tina, you spoke with a friend of the missing woman.
Yeah, that man told us that Frezja Baker was his best friend, and he believes that it was her body that was found in a car behind this abandoned church here earlier today. Police have not confirmed that.
I'm just praying for the family. Like, I've been crying all day. I'm tired. Like, I'm just over how people treat people.
Wesley Winchester says he got a call early this morning saying a body found in this car behind an abandoned church in West Charlotte may be that of his friend, 31-year-old Frezja Baker. Police have not confirmed that, but from Chopper 9 Sky Zoom, we could see that the license plate on the car was the same as that reportedly on Baker's missing 2004 Honda Accord.
They think they found the location of where she was at.
Baker, the mother of a toddler, was spotted on surveillance video several times last Thursday, driving from her home in this grayish blue Honda Accord, then reportedly visiting a cookout on Sugar Creek Road, and later this quick and easy food mart on LaSalle Street just before 10 p.m. Thursday night. Family members told us they expected to see her that night, but haven't heard from her since that day.
But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that care about her, and we went hard as we can to find her.
And I did talk to Frezja Baker's brother on the phone tonight, and the family is waiting to learn more information this evening. They declined to talk, understandably, right now. Also, we did reach out to police. They have not released any information regarding the person found inside of that car, so we're still waiting for that person's body to be identified from police. We'll keep you posted. Reporting live in West Charlotte, Tina Terry, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Tina, thank you.
The promise to be home in an hour had ended here, in a vacant lot. The manhunt for Inman didn't last long. He was arrested a day later in Maxton, North Carolina, about 2 hours away. He was charged with murder, assault on a female, and domestic violence. At his first court appearance, Frezja's father, Freddie Baker, looked directly at the court and said what the whole family felt. This man don't need bond. He was already out on bond. He ran the streets, and now my daughter is dead. The judge agreed. No bond. But here's the fact that stops you cold, the one that transforms this tragedy from a singular crime into a glaring question mark about the system itself. Lorenzo Inman wasn't just some guy with a bad temper. He was a convicted violent felon, walking around on supervised probation. In 2019, he was convicted of attempted murder. The facts of that case are chilling. He followed a man to a shopping center, shot him in the chest, and then stood over him firing more rounds.
To this, meantime, tonight, we are learning more about the criminal history of the man accused of killing a Charlotte mother.
That's Lorenzo Inman. He faced a judge for the first time today and then was denied bond. You'll remember police found 31-year-old Frezja Baker dead last week inside her car.
WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre was inside the courtroom today as prosecutors were laying out their case, and Baker's family spoke. So, Jesse, what can you tell us about that?
Well, Frezja Baker's family are heartbroken, and they say they believe this tragedy could have been prevented if Lorenzo Inman was never released out of prison when they're looking at his long list of criminal history.
North Carolina allowed this person to walk the street with that background. It's unbelievable.
Lorenzo Inman appeared in court Monday charged with murder, assault, and a domestic violence-related charge, accused of killing Frezja Baker, who loved ones say disappeared on December 4th. According to court records, surveillance footage obtained from a gas station from that same day appears to show Inman assaulting Baker. Her body was discovered about a week later. A woman loved ones say lit every room with her smile and saw the good in everyone.
She was a good person, a good mom, a good person, just a good person that met a monster, and she trusted the monster.
Prosecutors asked for no bond, pointing to Inman's extensive criminal history, including previous cases involving violence against women, a prior assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. Court record also shows Inman was previously charged with attempted murder and other violent crimes that were later reduced or dismissed.
He always beat the system. So this time, you just picked on the wrong family.
Inman's attorney argued there was a lack of evidence tying him to the killing, but the judge ordered Inman to be held without bond.
So he stands up in here looking at, I looked him eye to eye, and he kept saying, "I'm sorry." Sorry?
I hope you never get out. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about her. That's what I want.
Emotional words from her family. Now, Inman's next court hearing is set for January 2nd. Meanwhile, a GoFundMe page has been started for Baker's 2-year-old son, and you can find the link for that GoFundMe page on WCNC.com. Live in Uptown, Jesse Pierre, WCNC
He was sentenced
Charlotte.
to 13 to 17 years. But through an appeal and a plea deal, that sentence was reduced dramatically. He served a fraction of the time. Then, in October of 2025, just 2 months before Frezja Baker was killed, Inman was in court again. He pleaded guilty to habitual misdemeanor assault and intimidating a witness. The judge's sentence? 24 months of supervised probation. No prison time. So let that sink in. A man with a history of attempted murder and a recent pattern of violent intimidation was deemed suitable for probation. And within 8 weeks, a young mother was dead. Was this a failure to connect the dots? Or was it a system that, in trying to offer rehabilitation, tragically misjudged the danger standing right in front of it? The legal case against Lorenzo Inman is proceeding. But for Frezja's family, the pain is punctuated by relentless, brutal questions. The why is the deepest cut. Frezja's aunt, Yvette Swanson, put it plainly. She was a good person that met a monster, and she trusted the monster. What was the nature of their relationship? What was the argument about that night? We may never know the full personal story, and perhaps we don't need to. The outcome is what matters. The bigger, more systemic questions are what we all need to grapple with. How does a man with Inman's record, attempted murder, assault, witness intimidation, find himself not behind bars, but on probation? Where were the safeguards? Was his supervision close enough? Or was it just a paperwork exercise? Frezja's family is left with an unbearable equation. A prior violent act, plus a system that chose probation over prison, equals a preventable death. Her and asked the question haunting them all. Why did North Carolina allow this person to walk the street with that background? It's the million-dollar question. At what point does prior behavior reliably predict future danger? When do we decide that protecting the public outweighs the goal of reintegrating an offender? And what about the little boy? He's the living, breathing legacy of this tragedy. He'll grow up with photographs and stories, but not with his mother's embrace. His "Where's my mommy?" has now been answered, and the answer is a wound that will never fully heal. A GoFundMe was set up for his future, a small gesture against an ocean of loss. Frezja Baker's story is a mosaic of a life lived with love and a death met with violence. It's about community solidarity in the face of fear and the agonizing wait for answers that only bring more pain. But more than anything, it's a stark case study in consequence. A consequence for a little boy who lost his mother. A consequence for a family shattered by grief. And a consequence for a community and a justice system that must now look in the mirror and ask, did we do enough? Lorenzo Inman sits in jail, awaiting his day in court. The legal process will determine his fate. But for the rest of us, this case asks for a verdict too. A verdict on how we handle repeat violent offenders. On where the balance lies between second chances and public safety. So, what do you think? Was this a tragic, isolated failure in oversight, or a symptom of a broader problem in how we manage high-risk individuals? Could stricter probation terms or different sentencing have changed the outcome for Frezja Baker? We want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one, and your perspective adds to this crucial conversation. If this deep dive into the facts and the hard questions resonated with you, please show your support. Hit that like button, it helps more people find stories that need to be told. And to make sure you never miss an investigation, subscribe to True Crime Unraveled on YouTube and turn on those notifications. For our family on Facebook and TikTok, you can find us at True Crime Unraveled TV. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for caring about the story behind the headline. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.
CMPD now identifying that woman who was found dead on Sanders Avenue as Frezja Baker. Baker is the Charlotte mother who has been missing since last week. Police found her body and a car that matched the description of her car on Sanders Avenue near Beatty'sford Road yesterday. Neighbors we spoke with who believed it was her say they were shocked by the discovery.
It's the most horrific thing you could hear, is just being in the community. Not even, I'm sure the family is going, emotional in this sense, because to hear that your family member has been found in a car, that's truly sad.
Baker's cause of death is undetermined at this time. Police have yet to name a suspect.
As we mentioned, we are checking in now with our Jesse Pierre, who's been covering a first court appearance for the suspect in missing mom case. We have been covering the story of Frezja Baker for the last several days as her loved ones had been trying to find her. And unfortunately, late last week, CMPD releasing the news that she was found sadly dead. And there is somebody charged in that. Let's go ahead and check in with Jesse right now. So, Jesse, what can you tell us about what happened today in court and just any updates in the case in general, because it sounds like not only is there the legal process that's now playing out, but also community that's trying to rally around the young son of this woman who this son is now without his mom, 2 years old, and will be growing up without her.
Yes, like you mentioned, Lorenzo Inman, he was arrested on Friday, and he had his first appearance today in court. He is facing murder charge, domestic violence, assault on a woman, and during the hearing today, he learned that he will not be getting out anytime soon. He will remain in jail and was given no bond. So during the hearing today, the prosecutors kind of read through the list of the summary of the charges that he faces, and also pointed out his long criminal history in all of that, including several charges, several cases of violence against women, and other violent crimes. Now, during the hearing, we saw Inman actually shaking his head several times when those things were being read. I spoke to Baker's family, who were also in court. They were very emotional at times, and his aunt says that he was mouthing "I'm sorry" to them. They were they also got an opportunity to address the court, saying that he should have never been out of the street. He doesn't deserve a bond, especially because of his long criminal history that he has. And so that request was granted. Now, when we read the affidavits, we also learned a couple more things. Now, the day that she went missing on December 4th, that's when her family say she dropped off her son, and then they didn't hear back from her. They weren't able to get in contact with her. But there's also surveillance video detectives say of a gas station near the area of actually where they found her body, a gas station on LaSalle near Washington Heights, where there was footage from that gas station showing Inman assaulting her, pushing her to the ground allegedly, grabbing her by the neck, and then taking a hard object from a cooler and throwing it at her back. Days later, on December 11th, like you mentioned, Vanessa, her body was found in a car in Washington Heights near a church. Now, in the affidavits, it says two different directions, but it says a witness reached out to Inman's probation officer saying that she was dead, and that he said that they got into an argument. That they got into an argument, or that that she was shot in the head, and that she was in a car.
All right, sorry about that, folks. It looks like we've got some connectivity issues there with Jesse's shot, but really just some heartbreaking details coming to light. As we sometimes will see when these court cases play out and more information and evidence is released through the course of court, some information that we hadn't previously known, from, let's just say, the arrest warrant or the narrative that's sent initially by CMPD, we'll start to learn that information. So no doubt Jesse Pierre will be having more for us on this case, not just in the throughout the rest of this day, but in coming days and weeks as we do continue to follow this case. I alluded to this before, the fact that the community has tried to rally around this family now, Frezja Baker's family, now that she has passed, and she does have a young son, 2 years old. And I know Jesse will be talking about this more. Actually, I think I see her shot. Just double check it, Carlene, if you're able to see if she'll be able to come back and kind of weigh in on the GoFundMe. But we do see a GoFundMe that's been started to support Baker's son, as he now will have to grow up without his mother. And there are a lot of questions about how to provide for his needs. So it looks like we do have Jesse's shot back. And I know, I'm sorry about that, Jesse. You were in the middle of a really interesting unveiling of details that you found out from court. So I'm trying to think where we should kind of pick up from where you froze in your shot. But essentially you found out that it sounded like Lorenzo Inman had spoken to somebody and suggested that maybe she had been shot and that she was in a car somewhere. And I think that's kind of around the spot where we lost your connection.
Exactly. So in the affidavits, it says that detectives did question a witness who actually called his probation officer initially. And they give two different stories in the affidavits. First, the witness told the probation officer that she had been shot in the head, and that she was found, that she was in a car, but they didn't know where that car was. When the detective actually spoke to the witness directly, that witness said that and I'm sorry, let me get that back. The first account was that they had an argument and that she was shot in the head. The second account, when the detective spoke with the witness, is that Inman saying that he was putting the gun away and it went off and it shot her. I'll go back through that affidavit. Unfortunately, my computer is frozen too, so I can't even look back. But either way, a witness account is what led them to more details, just overall saying that she had been shot and that she was dead, and that is something that they say Inman told them. Again, her body was found December 11th. It was days after, a week, about a week later since the family had last seen her alive. Today in court, the defense attorney argued that there wasn't enough evidence to really connect him to the actual crime, and asked for a bond. Unfortunately, but that bond request was denied, and so he was given no bond. He will remain behind bars. Now, we did speak to the family after, and they're happy that at least he did didn't get a bond this time, but when they look at his criminal history, they say that he should have never been out in the streets. If something could have been done beforehand, then maybe Frezja Baker could still have been alive today. Now, yes, the community, even when Frezja Baker was first announced to be missing or reported missing, a lot of people were sharing that information and really rallying behind the family to find her safe. And now there has been a GoFundMe page that has been created to support the son and his future. Like his aunt mentioned when we spoke to her, he will never get to really know his mom, outside of pictures and what he hears from family with her gone. And so that is why that GoFundMe page was created. Vanessa?
A really heartbreaking story. Jesse, I know you'll have some reporting for us later today. Can you share what time we can see your pieces and what sort of angles you'll be covering for us in those early evening newscasts?
So I will be on at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock, kind of reiterating exactly what happened in court today. We'll be sharing more interview sound from the father of Frezja Baker as well as her aunt. And we will also dig in a little bit more into his criminal history for later tonight.
All right. Jesse Pierre, thank you so much for joining us here and breaking down what you've learned today. And we'll see you starting at 5 today on
Absolutely.
WCNC Plus. All right.